Hi everyone and welcome to another lesson from Korean Studio. My name is Kim Gi-hwan. Recently, we had a request for a lesson on common verb endings in Korean. So that's what this video is going to be about. Now, if you are new to the channel, we make Korean language learning videos for Korean learners all over the world. So do subscribe if you are looking for Korean language learning content. And if you are interested in online Korean courses, as well as live Zoom classes, do visit our website and find out more about our Total Access membership. Okay, so back to today's lesson. Now, in general, we can change Korean verbs into polite forms in present tense by adding ayo or 어요 to the verb stem. And there are many different ways of adding ayo and 어요 to the verb stem. We already have a video on how to add ayo and 어요 to verbs to form verbs into polite forms in present tense. And the link to that video will be in the description below. In this lesson, we're going to learn 5 most common verb endings in Korean to indicate different meaning or nuance in our speech. But one thing to keep in mind is that some of these verb endings can be used in many different ways. But in this lesson, we'll focus on the most common ways they're used in Korean. Let's begin. Now, in Korean, regular statements can be changed into question forms by raising the tone at the end of the statement. Listen to the following statements. 민수는 이 드라마 좋아해요. 민수 likes this drama. 민수는 이 드라마 좋아해요. 민수는 이 드라마 좋아해요? Does 민수 like this drama? 민수는 이 드라마 좋아해요? So in terms of structure, there is no difference between the two statements. But by raising the tone at the end of the statement can become a question. But if we want to form a more polite question, a question that is less direct, we can add 나요 to the verb stem. So 좋아하다 would become 좋아하나요? And this helps to form a question that comes across soft, less direct, and more polite. And for verbs, we add 나요 to the verb stem. But for descriptive verbs, we can add 은가요. So to ask, is this car fast? We can ask, 이 차는 빠른가요? 이 차는 빠른가요? And to ask, is this car small? We can ask, 이 차는 작은가요? 이 차는 작은가요? In the first statement, we add 니은가요 to 빠르다 to be fast because the stem doesn't end in 받침. So we have 빠른가요. However, if the descriptive verb stem ends in 받침, we add 은가요. So 작다 to be small becomes 작은가요. So remember that we can add 나요 to verbs and 은가요 to descriptive verbs to form questions that come across less direct and more polite. The second ending is 네요. We add 네요 to verbs and descriptive verbs to indicate that we have just realized something and that we are somewhat surprised at what we have just discovered. For example, let's say your friend Minsu sings in front of you for the first time. You've never heard him sing, and you suddenly discover that Minsu sings really well. He's a really good singer. So you could say, 민수가 노래 정말 잘하네요. 민수 sings really well. 민수가 노래 정말 잘하네요. 잘하다 means to do well. So by adding 네요 to the stem, we're indicating that we have just discovered this, and we are somewhat surprised by what we have just discovered. The indication of our surprise will also be shown in the way we say this statement. So it's not just 민수가 노래 정말 잘하네요, but it's 민수가 노래 정말 잘하네요. 민수가 노래 정말 잘하네요. The third ending is 지요. 지요. When we add 지요 to the verb stem, we're forming a question statement. And we add 지요 to verbs to check something we already know. We're asking the question to check whether what I know is true. In this way, it kind of functions like English question tags. So to ask, 민수 likes this drama, doesn't he? We can ask, 민수는 이 드라마 좋아하지요? 민수는 이 드라마 좋아하죠? So 지요 at the end functions like a question tag to check something I already know. And this 지요 is often shortened to 조, 조. And when we ask this question naturally, 조 is pronounced more like 저. So it's 민수는 이 드라마 좋아하죠? 민수는 이 드라마 좋아하죠? The fourth ending is kunyo, kunyo. And we add kunyo to descriptive verbs and 능군요 to verbs to indicate that we have just discovered something new, which can come from a direct experience or from having noticed something. This use of kunyo is very similar to 내요, which we learned earlier. However, when we use kunyo, it indicates greater degree of surprise, and it can also indicate how we are impressed by the newly learned fact. For example, after your first drive of a new car, to your surprise, and perhaps you're impressed also, you have just discovered that the car is very fast. So you can say, 이 차는 빠르군요. This car is fast. I see that this car is fast. 이 차는 빠르군요. So in this sentence, we add 군요 to the descriptive verb 빠르다 and form 빠르군요 to indicate that I have just learned this surprising or impressive fact about the car, that it's very fast. One thing about this verb ending is that we can remove 요 at the end and form a casual form. But this casual form is not common in speech and is more commonly used by men. Another casual form of these verb endings are 구나 and 능구나. And these verb endings are very common in everyday speech. The final verb ending in this lesson is 는데요. And 는데요 is a very common verb ending and has many different uses. And we'll look at 3 ways in which 는데요 can be used. First, we can use 는데요 to express disagreement to what someone has said. For example, if someone says that 민수 is not good at singing and you disagree with this view, you can say 민수는 노래 잘하는데요. 민수는 노래 잘하는데요. And in this sentence, the use of 는데요 helps to convey a view that differs from the other person's view. Second, we can use 는데요 to indicate that you are expecting a response from the other person. For example, if someone asks, is 민수 good at singing? And you said, 네, 잘하는데요. 네, 잘하는데요. And although this sentence simply means, yes, he is good, the use of 는데요 in this sentence indicates that you are expecting a response from the other person. So this sentence kind of means, yes, he's good, and... Third, we can use 는데요 to indicate that we are surprised by something we have just discovered. So if we are surprised by 민수's singing talent, we can say 민수는 노래 잘하는데요. 민수는 노래 잘하는데요. And in this sentence, 는데요 is used to indicate my surprise at what I have just discovered. And in this way, 는데요 is somewhat similar to 내요 and 군요, which we learned earlier. However, 는데요 expresses greater degree of surprise than 내요 and 군요. In terms of structure, we add 는데요 to verbs, but we add 은데요 to descriptive verbs. But with descriptive verbs, we add 니은데요 if the stem doesn't end in 받침, but if it does end in 받침, we add 은데요. Okay, so that's it for this lesson on 5 of the most common verb endings in Korean. But in Korean, there are also many other verb endings as well. So if you enjoyed this video, then do let us know and we'll be happy to make more videos like this in the future. That's it for today and I'll see you soon again. Bye-bye.